I always thought of him as someone I could rely on, the kind of person who carried an unshakable calm that made me feel safe. He would ask about my day in a way that felt more personal than anyone else in the family, lingering on details no one else noticed. At first, I took it as genuine care, the way an uncle should look out for someone younger. But the tone of his voice began to shift, softer at times, almost secretive, as if the words were meant only for me. He started paying attention to little things, how I wore my hair, the colors I chose, the way I laughed, and the compliments seemed to come too often, too deliberate. His gaze would linger longer than I expected, not breaking away quickly enough, leaving me uncertain whether it was innocent or intentional. I told myself I was imagining it, that I was reading too much into small gestures, but deep down I knew I wasn't. Something subtle was changing between us, something unspoken yet impossible to ignore. What unsettled me most was how part of me noticed, and instead of pulling away, I stayed quiet, waiting for the next moment to unfold. The shift became undeniable when his words began carrying weight they never had before. He would lean closer during conversations, his voice dropping lower, as though what he said was meant to be our secret alone. Compliments no longer sounded like casual kindness. They hinted at admiration that made me restless inside. He noticed when I dressed differently, when I smiled at the wrong moment, and each observation left me caught between embarrassment and curiosity. His presence seemed to linger in every room, filling the air with an energy I couldn't name but felt everywhere. I found myself thinking about him more than I should, recalling the way his eyes searched mine as though he was waiting for permission I hadn't given. The space between us grew tighter even when no one else noticed, and each accidental touch felt deliberate, a spark that lingered long after it ended. I tried convincing myself it was harmless, yet I couldn't shake the way my heart quickened each time he spoke only to me, ignoring the rest of the world. It was as though an invisible line had been drawn, and instead of retreating, we both inched closer, aware of the danger but unwilling to step back. It was late when I realized how far things had gone. The house was quiet, and yet the silence carried a tension that made every sound sharper. He approached with a calmness that unsettled me, his voice steady but filled with something I had never heard before. The way he looked at me told me he wasn't holding back anymore, and in that instant, I understood exactly what he wanted. His hand brushed against mine, not by mistake this time, and I froze, torn between pulling away and staying still. The closeness grew heavier, his words carefully chosen but charged, pushing against the boundary we had both been pretending didn't exist. My pulse raced as if it wanted to betray me, revealing how much I had already thought about this moment even though I shouldn't have. When his touch lingered longer, it felt like a question I wasn't prepared to answer but couldn't ignore either. The weight of secrecy pressed down on me, making every second more dangerous, more intoxicating. I didn't say anything, and maybe that silence was my mistake, because it gave him the signal to keep going. That was the moment the line we had danced around finally disappeared. The hours after left me in a haze I couldn't escape. I replayed everything again and again, searching for the exact point where I could have stopped it, where a single word might have changed the course of what happened. Instead, I carried the weight of silence, pretending nothing was different when everything inside me screamed otherwise. Each glance across the room became sharper, each conversation layered with meaning only we understood. I caught myself wondering if he regretted it, or if he felt the same pull I couldn't push away. The guilt was heavy, but it didn't erase the memory. It clung to me, making ordinary moments unbearable. I started noticing how much effort it took to hide, to smile in front of others as if my thoughts weren't consumed by what I should never admit. I didn't tell anyone, not because I trusted him completely, but because the truth felt like a fire that would destroy everything around me. Part of me wanted distance, yet another part longed for what I knew I shouldn't. That contradiction became my secret punishment, and no matter how much time passed, I understood that nothing would ever truly feel innocent again.